Danger Dolan.
My question is directed at Mr. Hazzikostas. Hazzikostas? That's it.
Yeah, close enough.
What's the status
Has a question.
What's the status on character scaling for old 5-mans and raids?
So the feature that was very briefly accessible, you're saying, in the recent 5.4 patch? I think so. That's something that we're exploring. I think the question is really how to do it correctly. We have the ability, as we've seen, in challenge modes and proving grounds, to scale item level down. We've also been exploring how to scale player level down functionally such that you keep your abilities, but maybe that their potency changes. It's something that we're still working on, continuing to work on, and once we have a way that we're happy with in terms of fully integrating it into the game as part of a reward structure, it's something that we'll have more to talk about in the future. But we're definitely interested in finding a way to explore and let people revisit the old content in a way that feels relevant, since there's so many dungeons out there and old raids that people probably never saw at the intended level.
So that is the question I asked at BlizzCon 2013 at the Raids Gameplay and Dungeons panel. It wasn't exactly the answer I was hoping for. I already knew that they were working on a reward scheme for those scaled legacy dungeons and raids, and obviously they still haven't come up with anything. When I saw the World of Draenor unveiling, I was actually expecting them to reveal that they were working on the scaled content, but apparently not. Now, just in case any of you guys haven't really had the chance to go to BlizzCon, it's such an amazing experience, and you want to know what it's like to ask a question to the stage while you got like thousands upon thousands of people standing behind you watching you ask it. It's kind of a anxiety-filled heart attack thing where they've got this camera woman just smashing this camera in your face as soon as you step up to the plate. You've got this dude with the microphone like shoving it up your nostril. And then you have a gigantic screen in front of you showcasing your face to God only knows how many people. While on the panel, which like the people on the panel that you're asking questions to, they're ants in the distance. So realistically, you're asking yourself a question with this ridiculous reverb from the microphone and the lights. Oh my god. It's like standing in oncoming traffic trying to shout a question at the night sky with like 12 other people shouting the same question, knowing that the entire event is being televised to God only knows how many tens and hundreds of thousands of people. Like for me to ask that question, I have to like rehearse it in my head about 8 dozen times, because when you step up to the microphone, your mind just goes blank and you just ask the thing that you've been repeating in your head like 800 times, and if you deviate from it, you'll end up like one of those schmoes who just goes on and on with some stupid question. And for the people on my channel who asked, oh, why didn't you say Danger Dolan before you asked your question? It would have sounded so ridiculous. The people who ask questions and then prefaced it by saying, I'm Sergeant Douchebag from the fucking idiot server. I hate that. Everyone hates that. Like, we're all sitting in the audience and every time someone said, I'm derp from Kel'Thuzad, it's like, shut up. Just ask your question. Nobody cares who you are. And I felt the same way. I'm like, nobody cares who I am. Like, they're here for BlizzCon. They're here for these people on the panel. So that's why I didn't mention any of who I am. Fuck that. Like, the key thing you have to do when you step up to ask a question at the panel is to not be as awkward as possible. If you can do that and ask a decent question, you've done a good job. I also had a couple of other questions I really wanted to ask at the panel, but that was the one I really wanted answered. I also wanted to know why there weren't as many dungeons as usual, and also whether or not they're going to make dungeons harder this time. I just didn't want to overburden the panel by giving like 3 questions at once. And my advice to anyone actually going to BlizzCon one time and they want to know how to be able to ask a question, because I mean the line fills up so fast, you've got to get to a panel about 2 hours early and then just sprint for one of the best seats, the ones near the center, near the front. Just grab a seat, just throw some clothes over it, and just say, this seat is mine, everyone get away from it, fight people if you have to, just get that seat, and you'll be able to make it to the front of the queue really quick. Anyway, that's it for this little chat. My name is Douchebag from Moonguard.